you have this book that you wrote called Astrology Realized.
Yes.
You put a lot of wisdom into that. Talk to me a little bit about why you felt that you needed to write a book and why this one.
I love books, I'll tell you. I love books. I was raised on books. I loved reading as a child, as a young person. It was reading that I felt connected me with something immortal. And I recognized at a very young age that books are a form of immortality. You know, there's this philosophical thought that the reason we have children is because we want to leave something behind. We feel like if we have children, there's some sense of us that will be immortal, that will continue. And I remember at a very young age realizing that books make a person immortal. That yes, I have a physical ancestry, I have a physical legacy, but anytime I tap into a school of thought, anytime I tap into a segment of wisdom, I am participating in a legacy. I am being a part of continuing that person's energy who took the time to write that book. And so for me, really, books are so very valuable, so very important. And to me, they are my children, really. It is something that I feel will be part of astrological knowledge and history and wisdom forever. And I find that really exciting. And I love it. I just love it. For so many reasons, I love writing and I love sharing books. And Astrology Realized is my first, like really the first book that I put out there. And what I loved about that was that I could really dive into the philosophical understanding of astrology, the historical forces that made astrology what it is today. I was really able to bring out my nerd hat, right? The academic hat. And
I love that hat.
yeah, thank
my
you.
favorite hat.
Thank you so much. Because, you know, I feel like that's what made it different. That's what allowed the book to be different, because there are a lot of people, you know, thank goodness we are in a time when more people can share than ever before. I love that. There are a lot of astrology books out there that have been written, that are being written, that will be written.
Yes.
But I felt like what I could uniquely bring was that more philosophical perspective. It's a reminder that it isn't just about the technique, it's about the relationship that you cultivate with the sky and with yourself. It is about the cultivation of wisdom, the willingness to see love where there might not seem like there's a lot of love on the surface, where it might seem like there's pain or frustration or desire or yearning, right? To be willing to see the wisdom and love playing out there, that is what inspires me, to be able to contribute that perspective to the astrological field. And so I believe my first book, Astrology Realized, which I also is translated into Spanish as well. And I love that. I love that, you know, people of all kinds of backgrounds, and hopefully more and more and more, can have access to this perspective. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely. So you said my first book.
I have my first book.
Why am I hearing something?
Okay,
here?
I am so excited and proud, and just, I mean, I'm just like, I could jump up right now.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll tell
I'm
you,
gonna jump up with you.
you are getting the exclusive scoop. You are, this is the first time I've actually like said it out loud. I can't believe it. Oh my God, I can't believe saying it. I am so very excited to announce my next book.
Oh
my
my
very
gosh.
next book is ready. Like literally right now, the final edits are happening. The formatting is taking place. It's going to be available very likely as, you know, this is presented to the world. The pre-order is going to be ready, and the publication is coming very soon. I'm sort of like choosing between two exact dates, like as we are recording this. Of course, astrologically perfect dates. I have a couple in mind, but it will be this year. The book is done, and it's very exciting to me to release the book.
So talk to me about this book, lady. I'm so excited.
I am so excited as well. It is called The Body and the Cosmos. And essentially what I do in this book, you know, because I really believe that we have this intimate connection with the sky, that we are a part of the breath and the expansion of the universe, and that this is ultimately the physical expression of many expressions of the divine. And as part of that, every sign represents a physical expression, a spiritual expression, and that's what this is. It's a recognition of how Our bodies are connected to the sky. I go through each and every sign. I talk about it from a physical and a spiritual perspective. There's exercises you can do to stimulate and awaken that part of you, that part of your body. There's meditations in the book as well.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very practical.
I need a copy.
Yes, of course. Of course. You will get
I
an
need it
advanced
signed.
copy.
I need it signed.
You will get it like personally signed
Oh my
to you, of
gosh.
course. You will get the advanced copy, don't
Oh
you
my
worry.
gosh, I'm so,
Yes.
thank you, God.
Yes. But yes, I'm so excited about this. The meditations were one of the last things I put in because it was really important to me to remind us that we, as we are every single sign. It's not that, oh, you're an Aries, therefore you're only going to read the part about Aries and you're only going to do the Aries meditation. If you want to do that, that's great. But I really believe that when it is that we remember, because it is a remembering, when we remember that we are the entirety of the cosmos within us, we are so much more than just our sun sign, which is what my first book tried to explore. But when we remember that, that is one way that we can connect to each other that much more.
That is revolutionary.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard anyone actually talk about it in that perspective. I cannot wait for this book to come out.
Thank you.
How can people pre-order it?
It'll
Let's
be
go there.
pre-order on Amazon. That's simple. You can go onto my website, nadiashah.com. You can go to Amazon. The pre-orders will be there. And the actual ship date will be perfectly astrologically chosen. I suspect it's going to be December 8th. That's where my intuition is taking me. That'll likely be the ship date. But
Is
yeah.
that a good date to launch something?
Yes, it is actually.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It'll be
I have
leading-
something to launch, lady.
Yay! Now, if it's a relaunch, I will say, if it is a relaunch, there is a full moon happening in the middle of November. That's really good. But
Okay.
Mercury will be retrograde, so it's a relaunch, right? So if
So
you've
this
done
is
it
a
before,
launch for me.
But okay, if it's a brand new thing,
Yeah.
then yeah, I would do it in December. We have this really beautiful, very fortunate energy happening. It's a very rare energy. It comes around every few years, and it is a harmonious, supremely harmonious alignment between Jupiter and Uranus. And it was under this alignment that I started my school. And I know we'll talk about that later.
Synchronicity University.
Yeah, the Synchronicity University. And I remember as soon as I launched that, it was actually Anoki that came to me, like within weeks of me launching that, and said, hey, can we write an article about Synchronicity University? That tells you how much this school has taken on momentum, teaching astrology, teaching New Age.
Shall I tell you why, Nadia? Because it was so unique. That an astrologer would put this online, so now it becomes accessible
Yes.
to the world.
Especially,
So I think we need to
Yeah.
go there now.
Okay,
I feel
let's do that.
I feel like the conversation's taking us there. Let's talk about, why you decided to do this and why you decided to do it online. Because you are known as one of the preeminent pioneers of online astrology. Like, this is a fact. So why have you been called to that direction?
I think there were a few reasons. So I know that it was really video astrology and especially being one of the first astrologers on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for over 10 years, which is incredible to me. But it's just time and it just goes by. And so it might as well go by doing something you really want to do. I think it was a way for me to empower myself. I was trying a lot of different things at the time. The only thing I knew was that I felt like astrology was what I wanted to dedicate myself to completely and totally. I had finished university. I had come out of this very rare master's program.
And this was in UK,
yes,
right?
it was
the
in
University
the UK.
of Kent.
Yes, exactly, in Canterbury.
How did you find?
Well, actually,
this
what happened
program?
was in the mid 2000s, there was this move to bring astrology back into Western universities. It has continued to be offered in universities in India as a social science, but there was this desire by Western astrologers to bring it back into Western universities after not being offered in Western universities for over 200 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it led to the launch of 4 programs, 2 in the UK, 2 in the USA. So one of the programs in the UK ended up going online. and then there was one other program. And I just knew I had to be there. You know, it was taught with the Faculty of Religious Studies, which was very different than some of the other programs that were teaching it more in terms of history, you know, the culture and the history of astrology. I wanted to understand astrology more deeply, and so I felt very called to the program. There were incredible world-renowned astrologers and academics who were part of it, and it was just a huge blessing. I will say that it was a massive blessing to be able to go, to be immersed in that environment for a full year. And it's never really about the degree, it's about who you become in the process. And it was during that year that I really solidified my reverence for this practice, where I really came to understand how important it is what we do as astrologers. We are the reminder, you know, of our integration to the entirety of the universe and to each other. We are a reminder that the universe is alive with meaning and purpose. Even those two little lines you see in the back of a magazine or, you know, the newspaper, you know, people are so quick to dismiss that. But there is actually a very deep and profound philosophical assertion that is made by that little line in a horoscope, which is that we are intimately connected to the cosmos. And I love that. I love being a part of that. That matters to me so much. And it really was in university that solidified. Now with my university, right, with Synchronicity University, it is classes, right? So it's not like you're getting a degree or anything like that. It's not the University of Kent, okay? So I'll say that right away. It is for those.
It's the University of Nadia Shah.
Exactly. It is for those who want to learn and know how to practice astrology. So it's practical, and then I throw in, you know, my nerd hat. I throw in the history and philosophy because that's who I am. But it is about inspiring future astrologers is what it comes down to. And so I launched it at a very auspicious day, a very rare auspicious day, and we're having something similar come around in December, in mid-December again. And so I have been thinking for a long time, what are all the things I want to launch for then? And so the book is just the beginning.
Oh my gosh. So talk to me a little bit about how people can actually, you know, become a member of this university. Like, where do they go? What do they need to do? Do they need to be astrologers already? Like, give me some info on that.
Any level, beginner, total newbie, just curious, explorer, or someone very seasoned, wherever you are very welcome at my school. And it is online, completely online, in that you are interacting with me live online. I am sitting there with you. We are in a room with 200 students or whatever, and interacting in real time, and I'm presenting you with a lesson. And after that class, you are able to take that technique or that interpretation and apply it to your own chart. So there's a very practical side of it, and it is ultimately about affirming something good and affirming growth of astrology, which I love. I love that astrology continues to expand, continues to grow the awareness of it, because we've always been connected to the sky. It's just that now more of us are owning that. And to be part of that really, I think, is part of what makes the university that much more fulfilling, Synchronicity University.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting because, you know, historically speaking, astrologers, soothsayers, you know, educated people would hold on to that knowledge in order to, you know, empower themselves and thus maybe depower the, you know, the masses. You're doing the opposite thing.
Of course.
You're taking your knowledge and you are spreading it out to anyone that wants it. Because I've seen, like, don't you do some sort of a bid thing on there? Like, people just need to give as much as they want to give. Like, who does that? No, Nadia, talk to me. You are just, you are an unbelievable woman. Talk to me about that.
Well, I just want to make astrology lessons accessible to as many people as possible. I love that I can do that, that it is astrology classes. And for a lot of people, a lot of times they are taking their first astrology class with me, but then I have a lot of students who've stayed with me all these years, who found so much value in it. But I love that students can, and again from all over the world, access these classes, access that time with me, be with me online at the same time, and be able to ask me questions in real time. It's so rewarding as the director and the teacher, but also in terms of just observing the students and knowing that they can be there. All of it means so much to me.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you something. For those people out there that kind of poo-poo at astrology.
They don't matter. I tell you, they don't matter. They don't exist.
I hear you, girlfriend,
Yeah.
but here's what I want to ask you on behalf of them. Why astrology? Like, what is it in the art, in the science, in the knowledge of astrology that can benefit our growth as humans?
I think that with astrology, it is one of those things that is rooted in spiritual practice. It's rooted in religion as well. It is very recently in human history that we have separated astrology from religion. Again, only a little over 200 years. Up until that point in the West, the astrologers were the priests. And even now in India, right, the astrologers, you call them pundits. They are the people who are considered the voice of the gods, the intermediary of the gods. And I think that's really scary. And rightfully, we are human beings, right? We are human beings. And I do think that there is this resistance to astrology for some people on that level. However, that is also a resistance that separates a person from the cosmos. It separates a person from that sense of integration to everyone and everything. And you know, I think it's just like religion, religious texts, if I could say, in that when you come to a religious text, you are going to see yourself. That's it. If you are a loving person, you are going to read a religious text of any religion, and you are going to feel more loving. You are going to grow more wise. You're going to be more compassionate. If you're not, if you're a person in a lot of pain, then you are going to read that, and you are going to think about, and you are going to read how it is that you can perpetuate pain, right? It really is that simple. We see ourselves in these texts, and we see ourselves when we look at the sky. If we resist the sky, if we want to deny that there's any connection there, well, then that's where a person is in their journey, and that's okay, right? No one is in a better quote unquote than anyone else. You know, like I said before, it makes me very uncomfortable when people use words like gifted to describe an astrologer, right? Me, especially for me, because we are all equal. It's not that anybody is ahead of anybody else. We are all exactly where it is that we need to be. We are doing exactly what it is that we are meant to be doing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that person who is not into astrology at all, let's say though they have a YouTube channel. And let's say that YouTube channel is, I don't know, a video game channel. How do you know that they're not doing exactly what they're supposed to do? They're playing video games, they're entertaining people, they're helping people feel like part of a community and feel less alone. That is sacred too.
Absolutely.
You know, wherever it is we are, whatever it is we're doing, the sacred is there. I'm just pointing it out a little bit more obviously because I think that that matters. I think that that's what I'm meant to do in this life. And so I love that. But we're all living it, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Whether you believe in astrology or not, it is playing out in your life right now. But it's okay. You don't have to believe anything that anyone else believes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something, just off of the back of, what we're just talking about here. Astrology, psychics, mediums, they're all kind of put into the same bucket, right? Because all of a sudden the word occult comes about. And when people think of occult, it's usually in reference to people who say that I am religious, I'm a part of this school of thought, this religion, therefore anything outside of that becomes the occult, right? And then the other way to look at the occult is, and this is important that I mention this to you, is that the occult is everything that is not in religion. So people assume that it's not a good thing, right? When there are so many things in religion which are not a good thing also. So people don't know how to look at it. They're looking for black and white in life when really all that really exists is gray. You know this, I know this, right? So with that being said, the question, my roundabout question here is, How do people that now we live in this, world of the digital era where we are being bombarded by every different opinion and school of thought, how do we make sense of what, information is available out there is the information that is right for us? I know that comes to looking into the center of self, but how do we simplify that for people so that understanding is more accessible and not academic?
I love that you used the word occult. I love that. And I would love that word to lose some of the connotation that it's had recently in human history. Occult means hidden, right? That's what it means. Like, what is hidden?
Absolutely.
The occult, what is hidden? Esoteric arts, the hidden arts. That's it. Every religious text is also an occult text, is deeply occult, is deeply esoteric. And every religion that you can imagine, every religion has an occult tradition. It has an esoteric tradition. It has a mystical.
Magic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it has a
magic.
magical tradition. If you think about it with religions, what attracts people to a new religion normally, like I'm talking about historically speaking, when a brand new religion springs up, the people who are drawn to it, they tend to be those who are already kind of, open to being misfits. Open to being a little bit out there, open.
People like you and me, girlfriend.
Exactly. Open to exploring, right?
Yes.
And that is the origin of every religion. So, for example, if you think about Christianity, because I have had people say that a lot, we are in the West, so people will say that's not Christian, things like that. But I know that the Star of Bethlehem, right? The three wise men were astrologers. It is Christianity that affirms its validity by pointing to an astrological symbol and saying this was happening in the sky, therefore this is valid. Now, when I went to university, I remember, in the beginning, Freshers Week, they call it in the UK. You're meeting all kinds of people. And I would tell people what I was studying. And, all the South Asian students, the students from India and Pakistan, they were all studying engineering, right? Or sciences. And so either I would hear, why are you studying that? Or I would hear, I didn't know you could study that.
Yes.
And I remember.
And how are you going to make money off of that?
Right? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I remember the first day of graduate school, the director of our course said, if you think you're going to make money at this, oh, I'm sorry to tell you, haha. And all the professors laughed. I remember, in the beginning, Freshers Week, they call it in the UK. You're meeting all kinds of people. And I would tell people what I was studying. And, all the South Asian students, the students from India and Pakistan, they were all studying engineering, right? Or sciences. And so either I would hear, why are you studying that? Or I would hear, I didn't know you could study that. Yes. And I remember.
And how are you going to make money off of that?
Right? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I remember the first day of graduate school, the director of our course said, if you think you're going to make money at this, oh, I'm sorry to tell you, haha. And all the professors laughed. But I knew that, no, I know I'm going to be okay. Like, I knew it. But I remember in Freshers Week, I remember when I first went to graduate school, I had ideas of what my thesis was going to be about. And, I wanted to write about those dark night of the soul experiences. And I remember one of the students, I told him what I was doing, and he said, I don't know anything about astrology. The only thing I know is that it's against Islam. And I knew he was wrong. I knew that he was so wrong because I know astrologers, people practicing astrologers, in my ancestry, going back 1,500 years. I can trace my my ancestry back like that. And I knew that he was wrong. And so I said, you know what? I have to study this. I have to know. And I ended up writing my master's dissertation on an astrologer and a mystic named Ibn Arabi. So he was an early Muslim, Sufi, mystical person, deeply spiritual person. And he was an astrologer as well. And so the thing that I loved about him, and the whole, I like to say the universe is wise and loving, that comes from Ibn Arabi. And so
You say that all the time.
I say it all the time. And when I get the chance, because I remember when I was writing my dissertation at the end of my program, that was hard. That was really hard. My dissertation is actually on my website. People can read it if they want, get over the, the very boring academic language and read it. But I remember I made this pact with his soul that, my own way, of course. I said, you know what, Ibn Arabi, if you help me get my degree, if you help me graduate and get my MA, I will talk about you as much as possible. I will let your interpretations speak through my work. And it was Ibn Arabi who said that the chart is perfect. The chart is perfect. It is but a glimpse into the perfection with which you were created and all the ways in which God desires to know itself through you in a way that it would not have had you not lived, had you not been there to experience everything that you will experience. And so Ibn Arabi said that every ache, every longing, every desire, every exaltation, every disappointment, every joy that we experience is another way that God itself experiences itself in a way that it would not have had you not been there to experience that exact elation, that disappointment, that joy, that it is all God. It is all what he called the magnificent breath. It is God expanding its force in the universe through you. You are an expression of that. You are the magnification of that. And in your life, as you live your life, you will allow God to live more, to know itself more than it ever would have had it not been for you living, for you feeling. I think that that is so powerful.
Yes.
And that comes from Islam. That comes from an Islamic tradition, and it was the early Muslims that took astrology that at that point had been abandoned during the dark ages of Europe. They took astrology and they put it into what's called a monotheistic context. So they took astrology and they allowed it and shaped it because astrology is living. It is a living practice. Religion is living as well. And they allowed astrology to move from an understanding of many gods into an understanding of one God. Mm-hmm. They took astrology from being very fatalistic, meaning this is what happens to you, towards being an exploration of how to use your free will.
And that's a huge jump.
That is a huge evolution.
Yes.
That is an evolution. And Western astrology, as we know it today, would not have been possible were it not for the Muslim contribution to it. And so when I hear people say, when I hear people say things like it's against religion, it's against Christianity, it's against Islam. The great thing is, at least, in the other South Asian traditions, the Hindu tradition, even the Buddhist traditions as well, you always know how much they appreciate their roots by how much they're open to understanding that this is part of their tradition. But I think it's really powerful that we are continuing. And you know what I think? I think knowledge is power. People can say what they want. People can believe what they want. This is what I mean when I say reverence, to have reverence for what I do. So if someone says to me and they say it's not according to religion or whatever, I know they're wrong. So it just doesn't matter.
Can I be very honest,
Yes.
Nadia? I mean, people will argue over which lipstick is more considered to be red than
Yeah.
another lipstick.
Yeah.
So if people can argue over things like that, they're going to argue over things they don't understand.
Yes.
Or they, and it's usually people who haven't taken the time to understand something that has the biggest, loudest voice.
Yeah.
And that's scary in today's society with all this, consumption of information that we have available to us. So I want to bring us back as maybe kind of rounding up our conversation. And I want to ask you, when is it that people should consider astrology as being a part of their life to benefit their personal growth?
Astrology is always there. It is always there. If you feel inspired towards it, go for it, in as much as feels right for you, and for as long as feels right for you. And you can let it go, you can pick it up, You can turn on YouTube, you can choose to watch an astrologer, you can watch somebody playing video games and everything in between and everything more. It really is about self-trust. That is what I love about astrology. It is an exercise, an expansion in your own sense of self-trust. And so, of course, your intuition, your learning, where you are in your life, the perfection of the tapestry of your experience as you move through life, you will be called towards the astrologers and the interpretations that you're meant to, and so much more. So I would say, look, it's there. Trust yourself. If it leads you towards astrology, if it leads you towards me, it leads you towards another astrologer, it's all good. And if not, if it takes you in a different direction, that's all good as well. But the only thing that matters, the only thing you have to ask yourself as you are led on this journey is this moving me towards greater love and greater wisdom? Is this loving? Is this wise or not? And a part of that is empowerment, right? Is this interpretation one that is affirming the love and wisdom in me or not? And I would say that if it is loving, if it is wise, whatever it is good.
Amen, sister. What a pleasure to have
Raj,
being
I
able
love
to
you
breathe
so much.
you in. Oh my God.
Can I tell you, you know that you are such an inspiration to me. I thank you so much. Years ago when I launched my school, it was Anoki Media that reached out to me, that gave me that platform. It was you that put me on a red carpet.
Yes.
It is you that now is sharing me with your audience and just being such an inspiration to me. Like just being fabulous and being the powerhouse that you are. Like if you want to say who's doing like the universe or God's work, you are an amazing example of that. You are living it and you inspire me.
Oh my gosh, you just made me want to cry.
Thank you for seeing me as part of your vision. Thank you for sharing me with your audience. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you know, can I just say something? I am very rarely without words, but I'm without words right now. You bless and honor me in such abundance that I'm sincerely appreciative of you. And it's funny because, I've been going over the last few, and I will allow this to air. And I want to share this. I've been going over the course of this last year through many questions that I've been asking about my life and my purpose. And I'm thinking to myself, has everything I've done had a meaning? What is that meaning? And where is it meant to take me so that I can serve greater? Serve myself and to serve others. People always talk about service as being something that's external, but I feel that service is internal before you can allow it to be external. Like putting something out there can't be put out there until it's put in. And I really believe that. And to hear you say what you're saying is really special to me because it validates all the questions that we ask, we searchers of life ask, right? And all the things that you just said, I want you to know that the reason why all of those things happened were because you were doing all of those things. So there is a symbiotic relationship that we share. And I say this all the time with people. They say, how come you guys have lasted as long as you have? And I say, to be very honest, it's because we've already made every single mistake. We've pivoted so many times because we're constantly listening to what the audience wants. And the stories of our community just keep growing, right? Those are the reasons why we're able to continue serving our community. Right? And I feel that that's what you do. I could go on and talk to you forever, Nadia, but I feel that that's what you do. Your service to yourself is what's allowing us to get the wisdom and the service that you give to us as humanity. And I thank you. And please keep being the misfit. Please keep being that person.
Secretly, I am a big rebel. Actually, I think that's just astrology. Is just the start. Like I said, when you are on, I think I let the mic fall, right? But okay, I got so caught up in the moment.
I love that.
Yeah, I know, right? But honestly, yes, I am quite the misfit. I am quite the rebel. You get a little glimpse of it on Instagram, I know, just a little glimpse of it. But yeah, astrology, I know it's out there. I know that is not a career that everybody would choose. But you know what? It fits me just perfectly. And you validate that for me as well. So thank you.
Amen, my darling. I love you so much, and I can't wait until the book comes out.
Yes,
we are gonna.
You
we
will
are
get
gonna
a first
talk
copy.
about. I
the
better.
first shipment from my hands will be sent to you. Don't you worry. You will get an advance copy.
You bless
really
me.
excited about
Can't
that.
wait till the next time I have you on my show.
Thank you.
I feel like we've only just touched, just like a tip of the iceberg, or the drop in the ocean, or just that one first step to the Himalayan mountains. Like, I feel there's so much more that we need to talk about.
Oh my God, I get to hang out in this fabulous house again. I get to hang
hope
out with
so.
you again. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.